What I am really sensing is the need to hold space for good, celebrate the wonderful, but then also mourn the bad. Feel your feelings in both, and then keep going. Hi everyone, my name is Danielle. Welcome to The Fine Print Life. I don't know why January feels so long. I'm not sure why. And in this month, there was unexpected loss. People that I know, friends that I hold dear, people that I know are just dealing with deep loss. I went to a memorial service even just yesterday. And so there's this feeling of, wow, there's a lot of grief happening. However, there's a lot of good happening at the same time. Holding space for the good and the bad, but knowing how to move forward is so important. It's a skill because it's easy to fall apart when the bad is happening and allow that to take over. What I sense in this season for my life is that, Danielle, you have to learn how to hold space for the good, hold space for the bad, and know how to function in the midst of it. Feel the myriad of feelings and still remain productive and still remain steadfast in the things that you said you wanted to do. And when I say the things that you wanted to do, I'm talking about like the fine print. Like, girl, you said you wanted to practice the piano every day. When was the last time you sat down at the piano? One of the reasons why I feel like the fine print is so important is because not only is it the bulk of your life, but it's so easy to bypass it for something else, like for a temporary pleasure. For example, say I had a bad day at work and I'm in a funk about it. Sometimes I'll get under the covers and I'll just sulk until it's time to do the next pressing task. It's 6 o'clock. My nephew's going to be hungry. So I have an hour between 5 and 6. Okay, in that time frame, instead of being proactive and prepping dinner, I'll just go under the covers and sulk because I'm upset because something happened, or I'll go under the covers and play solitaire until the time runs out. No, I don't want to do that. Instead, I want to look at the fine print of I want to remember the things that I said I wanted to do. So instead of going and sulking under the covers for an hour, go sit at the piano for 15 minutes. Once you sit at the piano for 15 minutes, go start dinner and finish it earlier than usual so that you can go to bed earlier and just stay in bed the whole night. It's being proactive and strategic about the way you handle your emotions, you handle the curveballs that life throws at you throughout any given day, and knowing how to be emotionally buoyant. One of my favorite books, I said, oh, this is going to be in my manual for my life, like my personal syllabus will include Atomic Habits, and I mean that I need to read this book once a year, every year. It's such a dynamic book. You can see there's so much that I highlighted because I just thought there were so many valuable gems in here. But I want to talk about specifically, he's talking about habits, and he says, imagine the cumulative impact of making dozens of these changes and living in an environment designed to make the good behaviors easier and the bad behaviors harder. Whether we are approaching behavior change as an individual, a parent, a coach, or a leader, we should ask ourselves the same question. How can we design a world where it's easy to do what's right? Redesign your life so the actions that matter most are also the actions that are easiest to do. Let me tell you why I think this is such a valuable gem. Like I've said, I've wanted to do YouTube for years. And for a long time, I hid. I would hide by putting out content, but it would be in my Instagram stories on my private Instagram page. And I did that because it still helped me I was able to create and put out content within the privacy of the 100 people that would actually watch every day. Let me tell you, that would keep me stuck because I knew that God bless the 50 people, 100 people that I was able to share my content with on Instagram. I knew I really wanted to share on YouTube. I really wanted to do that. And I finally got to a place where I felt good enough to do it. But in order to keep myself accountable and make it conducive for me to be more likely to produce on the app on YouTube, I made it a point to delete Instagram. I deleted Instagram and I said, let me delete the app for 6 months. And I'm solely putting out content on YouTube. And of course, I haven't set up my Pinterest page, but I will. But I'm not putting out content on Instagram because that's my go-to, but that's not what's filling me up anymore. I wanted to be intentional about producing on YouTube. And if I'm always hiding behind my Instagram stories, I'm never going to feel compelled to do YouTube because Instagram gives me that instant gratification. But yeah. And I don't want that. I want to be in it for the long haul. And so in order to make sure I keep myself focused, I made it easy on myself by deleting the app so that now when I'm like, oh, I want to create something. Oh, you can, but it's going to be a part of your vlog that goes up at the end of, by the end of each week or the beginning of each week. A lot of this stuff we know, but we just let life take over and we don't do it. And I'm really emphatic on the fact that when it comes to the fine print of my life, when it comes to the fine print of your life, if you don't become meticulous about reading the details and noticing, okay, what worked, what didn't, what's making me feel good, what's not. If you don't do those kind of activities and evaluate and reflect on yourself, you will waste your life. In Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about a concept called habit stacking. So basically, you're combining things that you don't necessarily want to do with things that you're already going to do so that you can connect the habits together and be more likely to do them. Let me give you an example. I want to get more steps in my day. And so instead of driving to pick up my nephew from school, I started walking. It's not a far walk. It's like 7 minutes, but now I walk to pick him up and then we walk back home together. And that gives me an extra, 1,000 steps that I wouldn't have had I just drove. So it's like, that's habit stacking, adding one thing that you already have to do. I already have to pick up my nephew, and then you combine it with something that you know you have a goal of incorporating into your life. So for me, it's getting more steps. Habit stacking, I find that that's something that I'm going to have to employ more of this year because when I do that, I'm more likely to get stuff done. Honestly, the colder seasons are harder to be as productive because you just want to be cozy under a blanket with a book or a solitaire. And that's not the vibes. So, I mean, it can be the vibes, but not when you're supposed to be getting stuff done. So what I decided to do was look at myself and when I felt more productive and what was around me and what were my surroundings like that made me feel better and more likely to get things done. And for me, one of the things that I noticed was that if I'm talking to somebody or if I'm listening to a motivational message, it's easier for me to get certain tasks done that are kind of not fun, like laundry or washing dishes. Or if I don't feel like cooking and I do have good service in the kitchen, it's nice to talk to somebody while I get those kind of things done. And I found that I become more productive when I have a voice in my ear that's positive. So whether it's a podcast, whether it's an encouraging friend, whether it's a YouTube video that is inspirational and the person has an encouraging voice, consider adding that into your regimen in order to help yourself get out of the rut and keep going. And I do believe that I do think there is something to taking more time for rest during the winter time, during the winter months, and hibernating. However, I'm not hibernating the entire season. I still have to be productive in certain ways if I want to achieve certain goals. So it's looking at, okay, you have a different standard for yourself. It's not necessarily that you're asking for perfection. It's not that, but you're not just letting yourself go. You're going to take time to fine-tune your process, ease up on the pressure, but find ways to make it easy for you to be productive. And that's what I find is working for me right now in terms of as I go along, as I go through January and February and March. Spring doesn't come until like the end of March. So this is what I'm going to be trying as I incorporate more things that bring joy into my life. I want to make time for the things that bring joy. In order for me to make time for the things that bring joy, I have to be productive in the things that I just have to do, like working, exercising, that kind of thing. So if I can manage my time around those things better, then I'll be more likely to infuse more joy that would I think will create a cycle of productivity and happiness, to be honest. So that's where I am when it comes to rereading Atomic Habits and applying it to my life in this season. This is for my nephew. Come, baby. Come right here.
God, this feels good.
You never delicious. Oh, you're still drinking it. You like it? So that is my green tropical smoothie. But if I can find a jazzier name for it, I will. You know what would be so cute? You know how you go to those cafes, those smoothie cafes, and they have the chalkboard with the menu and they have the names of the different... I should totally do something like that where I name my smoothies as I come up with them. How cute would that be? You know what smoothie I want to try? I want to try that Erewhon Cloud Smoothie. If I'll find it and put it in the video so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. But it's like this $20 smoothie from this market. It's called Erewhon Market, I think, or Erewhon Shop, something. It's called Erewhon, but they sell, it's like a Whole Foods, but even more expensive. And so they have these viral smoothies that people, like celebrities make. It's by a woman who's the founder of some beauty brand. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll put her name in. But that cloud smoothie looks so good. And I've seen people on TikTok make it or show you how to make it. I know you need like blue spirulina, you need like coconut cream, but either way, I want to try that one sometime. But we'll start small. Let's start with our green tropical smoothie and then add along as we go. All right, guys. Well, I think that is the end of the vlog today. And don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share this channel with a friend. All right. Peace out, guys.